2026, the July 2026 meeting of the Bridgewater Historical Commission, and we're having it on July 21st. It's now 6 p.m. And I'm gonna break this off of the agenda because I got a really neat phone call this afternoon, and I just wanted to share it with you folks. In the Banner program, I had worked with a lady called by the name of Janet Conrad, and she lives in Texas, but she grew up in Bridgewater, and her dad grew up in Bridgewater. His dad was Ben Hathaway, and he's a veteran of World War II, Korea, and Vietnam in the Army Air Force, or the Army, the Army Air Corps, and then the Army Air Force, and then then he went over to the regular Air Force. So they're coming up next week. After he passed away, she discovered his memoirs. They were in the hands of a relative. So her and her son have put them all together in the form of a book. Prior to his passing, he was living in senior housing over in Rainham, and Rainham Cable TV interviewed him. So what I would like to do is just a little 5-minute clip on the man, and I think it's going to be pretty exciting. They're going to donate a couple books to the library, and I'm just going to... okay, so if I press play, it's just going to come up, Josh?
Nope. So what you want to do first is
Oh, down the bottom,
share your screen.
share.
Yep.
Um, no, that isn't the right share. Okay, I should go down to the bottom of my Zoom screen and share there. Okay.
Yep.
Yep. All right. Okay. I got it right here. So, uh,
It's
just
still not share. It's still not showing up yet.
well,
So when you hit share, it'll bring up a screen, and you have to pick the screen you want, and then you hit share again. There you go.
okay. So we're going to share this for a minute.
Perfect.
Uh, and both he and his wife served in the military during World War II, and both of their banners are up. I believe they're on South Street, but I got to go find them because they're coming up next week. So here we go.
David, do you have the audio on?
Uh,
Yeah. So
it's
pause
not
it for
the,
just a moment.
the audio isn't coming through.
No, it's not coming through. We can see the captions.
The captions.
But under the share, does it also have it so you can share the audio? Otherwise, people are just reading the captions,
The
which
audio says it's on.
yeah, it's not coming through for some reason.
Uh,
Let me, if you want to pause it for just a moment, let me see if I can pull it up.
sure. Let me pause it. Okay.
Bear with me, everybody. Just make sure everybody has the opportunity. Thank you, Mark, for pointing that out.
Yes, thank you.
Let's see. I'm going to stop you from sharing, and I'm going to see if I can do it.
Okay.
Everybody can see that?
Yeah.
I was working with a man.
Everybody
That's
can hear
better.
that?
Yes.
Okay.
He had a brother in the
Okay.
RAF, and he had pictures of him with his Spitfire from England.
Yeah.
And so we both got excited about going in the Air Force, so we both went to sign up. I enlisted to be as an aviation cadet. I graduated Christmas Day,
Yeah.
1943. Then as we turned off the target, we got attacked by fighter planes, and so uh, I, I couldn't run my guns because I didn't have both hands.
Yeah.
But I looked around, my navigator, he was laying on the floor. I didn't know what happened to him, so I got out and checked his oxygen system had blown out with that same burst of flak. So, and you only have about 7 minutes to live at that altitude without oxygen. And so I got out and hitched him into a walk-around bottle that was fastened to the floor, and I stayed with him for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and he became
around.
he
Yeah.
picked his head up and pulled out of the oxygen system.
Yeah.
So what am I going to do now? He passed out again. So this time when I plugged him back in again, healed on him to hold him down, and they got another line from the other side and plugged him back in again.
Were you still being attacked? Were you
Oh
still
yeah, but
being
we
fired at?
were under fighter attack at that time, and we had 12 airplanes. We lost 6 of them that day. And always the air war is a little different than any others because it's so impersonal. You know, you're not actually coming in contact with somebody that something you might be interested in. The only time I, as a gunner, had a chance to shoot down a German fighter plane, there was a P-51 right in his tail. And I was afraid I might shoot the 51, so
Wow.
I left it alone, and the fighter plane did blow up right behind us, so I'm glad I didn't shoot at him. And you think, well, that could have been me, but
Yeah.
so you got to believe in fate, I guess, that you're the lucky one. We started flying every day, but the airplane couldn't take it. We could, because we had 2 crews. And so we started flying over Laos, but we were flying only at 12,000 feet. The mountains went up to 6,000 feet. It was too dangerous because they could hit you with a rifle from that altitude. So they switched us over. We fly over the Gulf of Tonkin. But what we did then, we would take off with it early in the morning, fly a mission when the bombers went in. We were in there to really protect the bombers as much as possible. And then we'd go back to Da Nang, refuel, be on the ground about 3 hours, and then take off and go out and fly a mission in the afternoon, and then go back to our base. Well, our airplane was strictly unarmed, and we had no fighter protection with us. We were alone out there, but we relied on our equipment. Our equipment was so good that, like I said, we had 25 members of crew, and I don't know what all people did, but they could. Some of these people monitored radios, and we had 3 or 4 radars aboard, and we knew where their fighter planes were at every moment they're in the air. And while we were flying missions, we never ever lost one of our bombers to another fighter. I retired in I guess it was April 1st, 1969. That terrorism is such a terrible thing that I was used to fighting people that had uniforms, and I thought it was if it's more, it's halfway honorable anyway. But they still have Veterans Day, but I think when I was young, it meant so much to me. But I don't know. It doesn't seem to have the same feeling today. I don't know what it is that it's a little different. I don't know. I can't explain it. I think the biggest trouble that our youth don't know enough about World War II. That was a very important war, and it was a terrible war when you think of the millions and millions that got killed. And I don't think I understand, really know about World War II. Because we're all different, you know, that we all have different feelings, and it's but I'm an American at heart. I've been in somewhere around 100 countries, and each country has something interesting and something different. But I'm an American, and I'm very proud to be an American. I've always felt my whole life I'll just do the best I can, and that's all I can do. And if you really feel that way, I think we're all much better off for it.
Okay. Thank you for showing that, Josh.
Yep.
Okay, now we get back to our meeting.
That was an excellent video.
Yeah,
I bet his memoirs are awesome and fantastic.
yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing it. She's going to donate a couple copies to the library, but it will be for sale on Amazon. She's not looking to make money. She's just looking to get his word out.
Nice.
So now let's see. I got now I got to get back to the screen or I can see everybody. Participants. Yeah. Okay. Meeting's being recorded. Okay. Well, I guess it'll show up as we talk. So, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, so they'll be here next Thursday. I'm putting together some kind of a meeting with them and the veterans agent and maybe some people from local cable TV to talk about the book and talk about her father. So I will let you know when that occurs if anybody's interested in coming to it. So, getting back to our agenda, old business. We have the first one I had, the Secosha block. It has been sold. The new owners have taken ownership, and they're in the process of doing some repairs on the building. And they've asked not to get into a lot of detail with things that they want to do, but I think the key for the sale of that building is going to be the key for the sale of the other buildings along the square. The buildings across the common, which well, it used to be Fairbanks Hardware, and then the buildings next to that, is price. Both of the people that own those two buildings on the common are asking a huge amount of money for those buildings. I'm told in excess of $1 million. But nobody's interested in buying them at that price because they're old wooden buildings and they've got a number of issues. But the guy who owned the Secosha block, he was asking well over $1 million, but then he dropped his price down considerably, and the sale went through. So I hope people learn from that, and we can see an improvement in some of our buildings downtown.
And we don't have any indication of what he's going to do with it or changes?
No, as far as the building inspector tells me, he's going to keep the building as it is. Different retail shops. Going to clean up the basement, and but he's not planning on tearing it down. Of course, he'd have to go through the Historic District Commission to do something like that, but it's not something that would be prohibited, but we'd hate to see the building go, although it's a tough spot as far as getting in and out for parking and so forth. So right now it is what it is.
Okay.
So next thing on the agenda, I had the Historical Commission budget. We have none. Haven't had one in about 10 years. I brought that up the last time I addressed the council, and I said there's something. Well, this isn't the year to ask for money. Obviously, everybody's hurting, so it's something that I just wanted to get it on the table. Bridgewater Public Library Historical Room. I'm going to know a little bit more about that next week because I'm taking the Conrads over there because they want to look up some newspaper articles on Lieutenant Hathaway. So I've had a real good relationship with the head librarian over there, and he's allowed me access to the historical room. So hopefully that will continue. But I'll be checking with him before I go in there with the Conrads, just to make sure that I can access that information. What I'm looking for, Evelyn Nurse, town treasurer. During World War II, she maintained excellent records on all of the men and women from Bridgewater who were serving in the military. And she kept all the newspaper articles as they showed up in the paper, and she also invited all of them into her office when they returned to Bridgewater after the war and fill out a 3x5 file card on everywhere they had been, everywhere they had served, and all the things that they couldn't report on while they were serving during the war. So hopefully we can go through those records too and pull out the card for Mr. Hathaway. So that's yet to be seen. Sturdivant's Pond, the marker, I haven't done any more on that. I've just been tied up personally with other things. I did meet with Open Space, and they think it's a great idea. The funding, I'm going to make an application to okay, what's the other committee I'm on?
The CPC.
CPC, yes, thank you, Jeff. Okay, so I'm going to be making an application to them for a preliminary review. I'm told by Josh that the new forms are ready, and he's agreed to assist me in that. So we can get started on that, hopefully. Historical interest, we're going to skip that for now. And one of the main things for tonight's meeting was to work on that letter to Glenn Grafton. Now, the letter that I sent out, there were a number of errors in it. Restoration of Osama Quinn hand pump. This was done through my notes in my iPhone as I was sitting at my desk as the Hanson building inspector. I had a quiet moment when nobody was around, so I dictated into it. Spell check works pretty good, except when you really need it, and it didn't work good here. So there are a number of errors in it, and I went back and tried to correct them, but with my finger in the small screen, it wasn't working, so I said, the heck with it, just send it out as it is to you folks, just to give you an idea of something to start our discussion with. So, other than the spelling errors and the wrong terms, I'm not even sure of the proponent. I'm pretty sure it's Glenn Grafton, but I don't see him here tonight. No. Yeah. I will verify that with him before I actually write the letter. Wendy, excuse me. My wife's looking for her car keys, and I have them in my pocket. I don't know how I got them, but there they are. Okay, so anything I left out? Any concepts? I think I wanted to stress that the grant, I sent it out to you, and I know prices are crazy these days, but he's got a rough estimate of $186,000. I've looked at the piece of equipment, and I don't know. I'm not into the restoration of hand pump fire apparatus, so anyways, that's roughly the price, $186,000. But he did email me back. I sent him some rough comments because I know we had talked a little bit about it, and our concern was that we want this thing to be available to the public to see, to experience, and stuff like that. Because for the last, all of my lifetime, so for the last 60 or 70 years that I've been aware of it, it's been stuffed away in barns and garages and everything, and I'd like to see it become a more visible piece of Bridgewater history.
David, I agree, and I see no reason to spend that kind of money if it isn't going to be accessible to the residents of Bridgewater.
Yeah, we're just going to have to stress that's a condition of our recommendation. He did mention to me that they were going to have some space in the equipment bay, and it could be seen by not really appointment, but it's if the guys are out on a call, obviously they can't take time to show a school class or whatever this piece of equipment. But I was kind of hoping that the new fire station would have a bigger lobby because it's a huge building. This piece of equipment I don't believe would fit. First of all, it wouldn't get in the building because the doors aren't big enough, and it's just not. There's just not a real visible space in this building to display it that I'm aware of, and so I did put in the letter that we want to see a video made documenting the restoration. And he did mention that the town of Whitman, I think, is having one restored.
Oh.
Whitman or Rockland, by the same company. And I just suggested it would be great to see the two pieces of equipment side by side and in operation, whether it be at a 4th of July celebration or a town day or whatever. They did. I'm pretty sure he told me that. I said, wouldn't it be great to see members of the fire department pulling this thing in a parade? And he said that wouldn't be allowed by insurance regulations.
Oh.
Because it's not part of somebody could get hurt. A firefighter could get hurt, but I know regulations are crazy these days, so I don't know, but at the very least, I would love to see it maybe towed by one of the. They've got a quad, I believe. It'd be really neat to see it towed by the quad in a parade. And as you said, Sherry, we gotta get public access to this piece of equipment. We want to see it more visible. And the video, any video that they make, everything's available on YouTube today. So it could be there just so that teachers could access it and different groups could access it and so forth. And there should also be a link on the town fire department page or the town webpage. So those are the things that I could think of. So is there anything else I might have left out that anybody can suggest?
I like the tone of the letter, David. I think you hit the salient points, at least as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Um, well, I'm going to retype it and put it on some letterhead, and I will send it out to you folks. I
Okay.
will, for your review. I'll discuss this at the CPC meeting tomorrow night. I'm sure it'll make the proponent of the project very happy. Carlton has done a lot of research on the pumper, and mainly his research has been from material in Ben Spence's book. And Ben Spence did a whole book on the Bridgewater Fire Service. So somehow I'd like to see that all linked together in pictures or dialogue or whatever, video or whatever, and make that accessible to the public as an outcome of this project. So I'll be presenting that tomorrow night, and if you think of anything between now and then I might have left out, let me know. And like I said, I'll get you the letter before I turn it in. I'm sure they want to get going on it. Anything of new business that anybody's got?
I just wanted to go over the CPC meeting that I attended for you.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I almost forgot you.
Nope, that's
Your
okay.
attendance. Yep.
Yep. I have to say, I learned a tremendous amount just in that hour and a half, whatever it was. I had no idea of the scope of the projects that they were dealing with.
Yeah.
And the money, I know where it comes from. I knew all that. And I have to say that Gina and Carlton, and there's another new woman, they were just very charming, very nice and welcoming. And then another man joined in. I don't know what his name was. But it really, it was an interesting thing for me to witness. And I mean,
Yeah.
I have 4 pages of notes here, but I'm sure you know, but I mean, just all the different things that they're doing. Um, let's see, what is it? The First Parish, Hanson
Yeah.
Farm, Styles and Art, Jenny Lynn Park, playground accessibility, senior center, all these things that's going on. I had no idea.
Yeah. Yeah. And before I got involved again, I had no idea that the Treasury had grown to the point where it had. So there's quite a bit of money available that
Yes.
has to be dispersed. So, and Pat Driscoll called me the other day. He's the chairman of the planning board, and he suggested that the new owner of the Secosha building might want to look into CPC, the CPC program for possible historic preservation.
Oh.
So that could help. So, well, I'm glad you were able to come, and Jeff, you've been there before, and Sherry, anytime. They meet the last Wednesday of the month,
Mhm.
so it's usually a Zoom or a hybrid meeting. We Zoom in, show up in person.
Yep.
So it's always available.
Yeah. No, but if you can't make it again, I'd be happy to sit in for you.
Great.
Yeah, I liked my time on the CPC. Just that the library commitment overlapped too much.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you got rained out tonight.
Yeah. They
Yeah,
called it a couple hours before the first pitch.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, Jeff, if you're at Legion Field. I don't think so.
No.
No,
Postponed to
it's coming down pretty
Saturday.
bad. Yeah. So.
How was Iceland?
Oh, that was awesome. Really doesn't have anything to do with the Historical Commission, but if anybody has any historical stuff they want to talk about, I'm open to it, but hearing no comments, I will comment briefly on Iceland.
Okay.
uh, it's very interesting. It's a different place. It's an amazing place in that they've gone from one of the poorest countries in Europe to one of the highest cost of living countries in Europe in about 30 years. Uh, I was impressed on how modern it was. I was impressed by the number of apartment buildings I saw under construction in the city of Reykjavik and some of the other smaller villages we went into. I was on a small French cruise boat, 180 people, and we would cruise at night, and every day we would go into a fjord or a small with a little bay with a village in there, or in some cases quite a large town. Or in two places we went to an island. We went to the island of Grimsey, which is north of Iceland. It's so far north you can't see Iceland from there. There's only 80 people live there. They've got an airstrip, and you just can't help but wonder why people would want to live there. It's isolation. There are some artists that live there. Sheep farmers, fishermen. They're a very active fishing port. The main income for Iceland is tourism. They've got 500,000 people in Iceland, and they see 1.5 million tourists every year.
Wow.
So quite a bit of their income is from that. The second biggest income is from fish, and the third income is from energy. Now, energy includes all of the industry that has moved to Iceland because of the cheap electricity. They generate tremendous amount of electricity through geothermal power. And one thing I would love to see the numbers on it sometime, how it's justified. But they actually ship bauxite, which is a raw material for aluminum, from Australia to Iceland, and they make a profit on it. I don't know how that works, but they sell it cheaper than anybody else. So there's tremendous. They're very self-supporting in many ways. They have a large number of greenhouses, which are powered by geothermal, solar in the summertime. The endless sunshine gives them a tremendous growing season. We were there at the end of June, and the temperatures were 65 to 70 every day, sometimes a little lower. A little bit of rain now and then, a lot of wind. And the landscape, not a lot of houses spread out around the island, a lot of them along the coast, but inland it was either open range, and I mean open range like I've only seen in the western part of our country, with horses and sheep, no fences, just hundreds of sheep and Icelandic horses, which are unique to the island. They get real upset if you call them a pony, because they're bigger than a pony, but yet they're not as big as a full-size horse. And they're very valued all over the world, highly collectible. And we went to a farm. Regular just stopped in to see this guy and his wife and his two kids. And it was a group of about 25 of us with this tour, and he gave us a presentation on what he does, and he's a farmer, sheep, and his wife is a stay-at-home farm wife, I could call her, but her duties were many around the farm. He said he needed to put up about 150 pounds of lamb and about 50 pounds of fish for the winter. Electricity is very cheap to their house. Um, and when the endless sunshine, it was, we just accepted that we weren't going to see a lot of darkness. But one night, just for the heck of it, I looked it up on my phone. The difference between sunset and sunrise, it's 20 minutes. So it no sooner goes below the horizon, it pops back up. So that was interesting. So it must also, conversely, it must also be very dark come December 21st. We stopped at a tomato greenhouse, and they put on a big dinner for us, tomato soup and delicious baked bread. And this guy ships a ton of tomatoes a day out of his greenhouse, mainly cherry tomatoes, and the tomato plants were 10 feet high. And he does that 365 days a year. And of course, when the light is short, geothermal powered lights in the greenhouse. So he had strawberries. They grow a lot of potatoes, carrots, some other kale. Well, there's things that can tolerate some cold weather. But because you get 24 hours of daylight, stuff grows great. The tomato plants in the greenhouse, they go from seed to producing a tomato in 6 weeks. And then the plant just takes off from there and grows 10 feet tall, and the vines must have been 3/4 of an inch in diameter. So, very expensive. Cup of coffee, $8. And that's only a 4-ounce cup. It's a European coffee. Can of Coke was $3. And there were some hamburger joints in Reykjavik, but there were also a lot of lamb burgers. And I had one of those, and it's very tasty. It was pretty good. So most of the time we were eating on a boat, but once we get off the boat, we were walking around the city. So if you want to go somewhere different, off the beaten path, I highly recommend it, because it was an expensive trip, but it was a lot of fun.
I've always wanted to go to Iceland.
Yeah. There was still some snow in the mountains, and as it's melting, waterfalls, beautiful waterfalls coming out of the mountains. The mountains, I'd say 3,000 to 4,000 feet, rolling hills, and the countryside was either lush green pasture land. If it was fairly flat, it had vegetables growing on it. A little bit of slope, it had horses and sheep. And I'd say probably 25% of the land is volcanic ash. A number of the beaches, black sand, and then there were just areas near volcanoes that had erupted over the last couple hundred years, and it literally people were amazed. And I'm looking at it and I said, this looks like an industrial waste site because it's all this black rubble, volcanic cooled off lava, big hunks, and it looked a lot like the slag that we saw at the foundry, and and black sand looked just like the foundry dump behind it. But one thing I have to say about the people in Iceland, very, very clean. I think I could count the number of pieces of trash I saw on the ground on one hand in 8 days. People are very conscious of the environment, and gasoline, about $6 a gallon, and they also have a tax on mileage, which it sounds a little oppressive, but when you think about it, it's just adding a couple more cents to the price per gallon. So, cars, European cars, a few small American cars, but mainly European cars, very similar to what we see in the States. No railroads in Iceland, just highway, and the highways. Look it up on Google Earth sometime. It's you can see quite a bit there. It was pretty neat. There was one town we went to, and they call it the Pompeii of the North. And what it was, in 1974, a volcano erupted right next to the town, and it was at night, and people were awoken by the rumbling and the noise and everything, and they looked outside and they saw the bright sky. And luckily the fishing boats hadn't gone out that day. It was a town, I believe, about 6,000 people, and the fishing boats were still all in the harbor, so they evacuated the town immediately. They got everybody on the boats, and nobody was hurt, but some of the men came back after they brought their families to safety. They came back to the town, and they borrowed some pumps from the Navy, and they started pumping seawater onto the lava flow out of the volcano, and they were actually able to solidify part of it, so only about 25% of the town was devoured by this red-hot volcanic ash. And so after the volcano subsided, after about 6 months, the people came back and they picked up their lives again, and then they built a museum around 2 houses that were buried in the volcanic ash, and it was just like the pictures we see of Pompeii. Of course, there were no dead people or anything, but all the furniture and the food and everything was preserved, and the toys and everything, because the ash collapsed the roofs of a number of houses. But a couple of them, where they excavated it, it was really neat. I could talk all night on it. So, but I'd check it out if you think it's somewhere you want to go. Save your money.
Yeah, it sounds very interesting.
Yep.
Different.
The only bad experience was the people, the Iceland Air. It was a non-stop flight out of Boston, 5-hour trip, and they nickel-dime you to death on everything on that airplane. You got water, or you got a cup of coffee, and that was it. You wanted a blanket, it was a charge. You wanted a pillow, it was a charge. And it was cold on that airplane. And the stewardesses, they weren't the same friendly stewardesses that I've encountered on many other airlines. They were very cold, businesslike, smiled and everything, but no extraneous conversation, no nothing. So I wouldn't give them more than 3 stars at best if I had to rate Iceland Air. But we got there safely and we got home safely. So I have to say, but it was really neat the first night back. It was so nice to see darkness. When the sun went down, it got dark. Wow, this is awesome. The little things that you miss, you never really thought you'd appreciate. So it worked out good. Another crazy thing, we were talking with the farmer and his family. We asked him, how did you two meet? And he said, well, they don't do a lot of social events and dating and stuff, but they do have they do have dances. And if you see somebody who you think you might be interested in, the first thing you ask is, are we related? And it sounds crazy, but they have a nationwide database of who's related to who. So that that figures into relationships and dating. They weren't related, and they've been lived happily ever after. So,
Different world.
yep, different world. Snow on the ground, might have a couple feet. Um, Cold, maybe 20 down to 15. But a lot of times the winter is around 30 or 35. So the temperature varies between, I'd say, probably 25 and 60 all year. You don't have any wicked heat or any super bitter cold. Um, and that's something I expected to hear more about in Iceland, but nope, it doesn't happen. So they're warmed by the Gulf Stream. Um, Even that little island up top, socialized medicine. Um, Kids get sick. You've got doctors and medics in the towns, but if they need more than that, uh, quite a few of the towns have a little airstrip, and the government will fly out a small plane, and pick up sick people and so forth and bring them into the city for treatment. The treatment is free. However, you got to find a place to stay because the hospitals don't offer lodging. So the farmer's wife said it got expensive a couple times when they had kids with illnesses that we wouldn't think too much of. You can bring them to the doctors, bring them home, but with where you had to stay at the hospital under doctor's care for a couple days uh, because of the cost of living, you had to rent a room in a hotel or houses that were near the hospital and so forth. So never saw a police car, never saw a policeman. Um, they don't have a military. They have an agreement with NATO that takes care of all of their protection, with the exception of Coast Guard. They do have a number of Coast Guard ships that they use for their fishing industry and coastal protection. Um, and didn't seem to be stories of a lot of crime there either. So I thought it was a pretty neat place. If you like the extremes of lightness and darkness, you could live there pretty good. Um, so so next year, Canadian Rockies. We'll see what happens there.
Another interesting place.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll leave the Caribbean and the cruise boats to the people who love sitting in the sun. So, uh, well, it's getting close to. No, it's only about 6:50. Um, so if anybody's interested in going to tomorrow night's CPC meeting, um, it starts at 6:30, and it's both. Well, it's on Zoom, but I don't know if they've. Sometimes if she gets enough people to show up at the town hall, they do have some people in that meeting room that has Zoom capabilities. Um, Tomorrow is a meeting at the senior center with the town manager to talk about the town. So I went to a meeting with him today and on the downtown revitalization, and I'm going to go to the meeting at the senior center. It's at 12 o'clock. It's at noontime. So if anybody's interested in attending that. They asked for reservations, but there's no food involved, and I think they just wanted to know how many chairs to set up. So you want to go and listen to town manager speak. So So, any other comments? Janet, you've been real quiet all night.
Well, you didn't have any public comment by the time I got on. It didn't seem like you had any. I did message you a couple of things.
Well, what do you have anything in public comment you'd like to bring up?
No, I was just in support of that fire hand pump thing.
Yeah.
And you mentioned something about they can't pull it by people. I haven't seen a picture of it per se, but was it something that was always pulled by firemen, or was it pulled by horses?
I believe this was pulled by people. I didn't
So-
really see a rig on the front for a harness, but I could be wrong. It's
I
not that
don't-
big.
I don't see what the problem, everybody's so worried about litigation and all that.
Yeah.
crap. But they're firemen and their job is they have more of a risk fighting a fire than pulling a wagon. So what would the issue be that the town or the fire department would be afraid of? Or they could just get volunteers to do it. It seems like ridiculous.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
It would seem like they should be able to pull it.
Yeah.
They do other things. They march in the parade. They could drop one of those axes on their foot. So I don't understand what
Yep.
the issue would be.
Yeah.
They pull
Yeah.
those hoses.
Yep.
So, I just feel that could be worked out.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'm going to suggest to Glenn that possibly they could pull it with a quad. And that way, he gets to show off the quad, gets to show off some guys, firemen in a parade, and the pumper. I think it would be an excellent way to display it. And the quad should be more than capable of towing something like this. So.
what do you mean by quad? You mean like
Well, it's a four-wheeler.
Four-wheeler thing?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
We
four-wheeler.
could even
type thing.
take a John Deere, a gator, as we call it, the John
Yeah.
Deere gator. You could take
Yep.
one of those if they can't take people to
Yep.
pull it like they should. I think something could be looked at further to make sure that they could possibly pull it by people.
Yeah,
I don't see how they can say that there's a liability. There's a liability on everything they do. So I
Yep.
don't understand
well,
that. So I think somebody could look into it a little bit further.
yeah. I would even suggest getting a Boy Scout troop.
Well,
I'm
that might
sure
be, that might be more of a liability, I guess. But,
Well, you put a
but
bunch of them on the tongue on the front, and you put a rope behind it to act as brakes, and you have a bunch of them on the back for the brakes, and I think the kids would get a kick out of it. But you know.
I think maybe it could be worked on. You got to get it fixed first,
yeah,
and then work
Yeah.
on the pulling.
yeah.
So I guess that was mostly what I was interested in. I didn't know where those building was that began with an S. Is that where Fairbanks used to be, and where?
No.
Oh.
They've called it the Virginia Block. Who's on the corner? Just Desserts.
Oh, that block. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So it is sold,
Yep. New owners have it.
and
The building.
can they
the
keep
building-
it the same? They can't tear it down and start
No.
fresh, right?
Can't say never. Even with the historic district can't prevent a building from being torn down, but they do have control over the exterior appearance of the building and the replacement of materials.
Okay.
In the past, they've been very critical about the use of vinyl materials, vinyl board for trim and so forth, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
All right, so those are the building. I didn't know where it was. I never
Yeah.
heard referred to as that, so I was like, where were you talking about? So
Yep,
just Desserts Corner. Okay.
yep, that's where it is.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing else going on around town that I know of. Well, of course, most people call it the Friendlies building, but
Yeah.
it's well under construction.
Yep.
So,
Looks like a bunker.
yeah, I was surprised to see how close the retail shops are to the sidewalk. I mean, they're right there. They're very close. It's going to be retail on the first floor in all the buildings along Broad Street. So, It'll change the look down there, no doubt about it. And let's hope it doesn't complicate traffic too much. But we'll have to wait and see, seeing as there was no traffic study done on it. To wait and see.
I thought there was a traffic study, but that was so long ago, way back.
It was done for the original building,
The
the original
buildings.
proposal, 48 units or something.
Yeah.
And we all know how traffic hasn't decreased in Bridgewater at all in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Well, I don't have anything else. It was just I was interested in the hand pump and also didn't know where those buildings were that you were referring to. So
Janet, I have had some people ask me, whose responsibility is it to improve the trails on the Hanson property?
well, it's not improve, mean make the trail.
Yeah,
Make the
yeah,
trail.
I guess.
I guess it's the farm is to make the trail based on it has to get approval from Wildlands Trust and then
Yeah.
CPC and get all that. But this is not the right time of year for the guys to be building a trail. They know where they plan on putting it, and that was
Yeah.
always in the plans for where the trail would go. But they haven't had a chance, and somebody that was going to be starting on it had hurt his foot, so he's been out of commission for over a month. So
Yeah.
and David and Bob don't have time to be
Oh, yeah.
blazing a trail. They're
Yeah.
busy picking corn and vegetables. Corn is
Yep.
in. If anybody was
Yep.
delicious. I had some tonight.
Yeah.
But they don't have time. But they're the ones who were supposed to get the trail. Plus, they'll need Concom approval for a little bridge going
Yeah.
over the swamp, and which won't be anything. It'll just be like a flat thing, so that shouldn't be any issue. But supposedly the owners of a conservation restriction thing that is allowing people to walk on are responsible to build the trail, which seems strange to me. But anyways,
Yeah.
but it hasn't been anything done on it because they haven't had the time, and the person that was going to
Yeah.
help them has been out. And CPC, once everything gets approved, then the CPC will be funding the money for the material for the bridge. And we're not
Mhm.
talking a big bridge. It's it's
Yeah.
going to be a flat thing. So
Yeah.
over some swamp. So
Yeah.
but I don't know. I personally don't know anything more than that. That's just what I've been told by David and
Yep.
and CBC. So, but yeah, and they understand this is not the time of year for them
Yep.
to be doing that. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, some people had asked me, and I said, stop up the farm stand, get some ice cream and vegetables and so forth, and talk to David and Bob. I'm sure they can give you all the details on it.
yeah,
So-
the trail is. They know where it's going to be. They just haven't had time to make the trail.
Yeah.
They say it took so long to get approval for this that by the time they did, they just didn't have time. So everybody
Yeah.
understands that it's a working farm. They're not a trailblazing farm. So
Yep.
they just have to look at it from afar.
Yeah. Is there any trails over at the Murray property?
There is a trail on, well, it's not, I don't think it's upkept. It's the Murray property is actually divided in two. There's the Need property. It was all the Murray, but the Needs owned not quite half, and Peter Murray owned the other more
Yeah.
than half. The trail is not on what is known as with the Peter Murray property. There's no trail on that side. The trail is on the side that's abuts what used to be the slaughterhouse.
Yep.
The trail starts there at the stone wall and goes down and then through the woods. I personally have only walked it once, but goes down through the woods and then back up and back to the stone wall.
Yeah.
And the problem is that there's no place for people to park.
Yep.
get to it, and you cannot go on the personal property, and you cannot
Yep.
go on the farmland. So the only access is from the stone wall. And I think Open Space has been trying to think of ways to get some. And I'm going to say this, David and I own the Need property now. That is our property now.
Yep.
And so that's how I know that. But it's a working farm, and I've had people coming from Village Gate Drive. We're not actually physically there all time, but
Yeah.
we've had some people coming up from out of the woods from Village Gate Drive, going up the farmland driveway onto our driveway, which is clearly a house, and walking out
Yep.
that way. So when we've seen them, we've had to stop them and say, sorry, this is private property.
Yeah.
And they thought that they were allowed to do that. And we had to correct them. I said, see that sign? That's
Yep.
where the trail is. That's where you're supposed to walk. You're not to come on farm property and not to come on the personal property. And so people don't realize. So I don't know where they come in, but that would be on Peter's side, Peter Murray's
Yep.
side. But people are coming in from there, but that's private property. That's so people don't realize that, but they think that they can for some reason. But there is a trail on the Need side. There's a sign, and it's right next to what used to be the slaughterhouse. That is the trail, but we haven't walked it, so I don't know if it needs to be cleared out or not. And we haven't had time to do that ourselves because
Yeah.
it's farming. So,
Yep.
but there's no place for people to park, and you can't park on our property.
Yeah.
So
Has anything happened with the slaughterhouse property?
no, she
That's-
hasn't. No, she hasn't sold that. She
Yeah.
is selling it right now. As far as I know, she still wants to sell it as one big
One
thing.
big
You know,
piece.
the house,
Yeah.
house, and then the land.
Yeah.
We would love to have the land. It's just the land part, because that
Yeah.
butts our property. It actually butts the property we have now and butts their property for the Needs. That would be
Yeah.
great. Open Space would like to have it so they could have a place for people to park and be able to get onto the trail.
Yep. Yeah.
She doesn't want to. I can't speak for her other than last I knew, she doesn't want to divide it up.
Yeah.
She did sell the little house on the corner
Yep.
and separately, but the rest of it she wants to sell as a whole. So I don't know, but there's been some people discussing it. So that's all I know. But
Right.
but there is a trail for the Needs property, but you cannot access it from private property or the farmland property. You have to access it from the street, which is not really, so, but it's
Yeah.
okay. I don't mind. I don't mind
Yep.
people not walking, but I can't stop people walking the trail.
Right.
But they
Right.
can't access it from my personal property. So,
Well, okay. We're way over our time, but if there's anything else, I'm open to discussion. But if not, hopefully we're going to shoot for the second Tuesday again in August, so we don't conflict with the council meeting. And we'll just have to rely on me to remember to set it up and show up. So, if there's anybody interested again in CPC, it's tomorrow night, 6:30.
Okay.
Agenda's on the website. So,
and David, the CPC, it says it's Zoom and then also at the fire station, not the town hall. I mean, not the
Oh.
academy building.
oh,
If
okay.
you look at the agenda, it says virtually Zoom
Yep.
and in person at the fire department headquarters,
Oh,
which is interesting.
yeah. Yeah. Well, the amount of money we town invested in it, they should have the facility up there to do Zoom meetings.
Yeah, it's in the
Yeah.
conference room.
Yeah, yeah, it's a beautiful setup they've got there.
Mm.
No doubt about it. Well, if there's nothing else, somebody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the historical meeting.
Okay, and do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, so until 3 weeks, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so I'll try to get some minutes together and get them over to Josh, and also refine that letter and get it out to both of you so you can see it before we make the official submission.
Excellent.
Sounds good.
Okay. Okay. So for everybody, thank you for coming. And
Thanks.
good night.
Night.
Good night,
Good
everyone.
night, David. Good night.
Night.